Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Alpine Intel's The Savvy Adjuster podcast for a mini episode about how expert investigations determine if vehicle claims are legitimate. I'm your host, Senior Account Manager Chris Nichols, along with Curtis Whitfill, VRC Investigations Vice President of SIU Compliance and CE Programs. Curtis, thanks so much for joining the podcast today.
Hey, thanks for having me again, Chris.
Absolutely. Now, during our longer episode, we talked about why adjusters should prioritize scene investigations when they suspect fraud, but now we're going to drill down for a few minutes on vehicle claims. Can you start by telling us what types of auto claims would benefit most from a scene investigation?
Sure. So, oftentimes adjusters handle a variety of claims, and then sometimes they handle some, very specialized claims. But if you're an adjuster handling, major injuries, death investigations, we can add a lot of value to that because there's often a lot of critical information that has to be collected, and they might hire a variety of experts to assist. But our investigators can go out there and gather information that is really important to them. But also just your run-of-the-mill hit-and-run accidents, or ones where you suspect they're staged, or even pedestrian type collisions. Sometimes those are staged as well. And when they suspect that, or they just need more information, they can assign these types of claims to us, but we can also really help out on auto theft claims, or even if there's just items stolen from inside a vehicle and there's questions about the value of those items or were they actually there. So there's a lot of auto type related claims that we can be very helpful on.
And if you missed the longer episode, listener, we do share a pretty amusing story about finding beer cans in the back of a vehicle, which again was probably very valuable to the adjuster working that claim, I would imagine. So, and what kinds of information can an investigator obtain from that a claims adjuster may often need to have for these types of claims?
Oftentimes there's like this gap between, what is available to them when they're looking like on Google Maps and they're trying to assess the scene versus, doing a very expensive investigation, maybe an accident reconstructionist, that sort of thing. Maybe they need something in between. And that's where we come in because we can go out there and gather some information. The cost is a little bit less, but the information that we get is often extremely valuable. Just having a physical presence at the scene allows, the investigator to identify details and the conditions of the road or visibility issues. Maybe there's vegetation growing over the scene, and that stuff didn't show up on Google Maps. Another example would be, like construction zones, or maybe the lane markings have changed. So, we can go there and get the information, provide that to the adjuster. Thinking about short-lived evidence, if you're going back to these major injury type accidents, skid marks or fluids on the road, oftentimes we can get out there and take pictures of those, assess the scene. And then you think about investigators going out there to the scene, if it's an accident, auto theft, or anything, many times, they'll contact the witness, they'll contact the insured and say, hey, can you meet me out here at the scene? And then they'll conduct the interview right there and they'll get firsthand information from them. And it's often beneficial.
Yeah, I didn't even think about sending somebody out there to look at that short-lived evidence, right? Like skid marks, debris, or to your point, Google Maps, I'm not sure how frequently that funny-looking car goes around and gets new images, but I would imagine it's not as infrequent as an adjuster may need. And you spoke to new traffic control devices or road construction, things like that. Always valuable, I should say, to have somebody kind of boots on the ground to give you that second set of eyes, more real-time information. So very interesting stuff. Really great information today on vehicle claims. And Curtis, I appreciate you joining us once again.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'll just add one more thing, Chris. If you think, an adjuster out there may be thinking, I don't know that this type of claim really warrants me sending somebody out. They often experience this. Plaintiff attorneys are notorious for waiting, till the statute of limitations runs out or a couple of years right before the end and filing a lawsuit. And if you send somebody out, gather that information, it might pay off in the long run. And a lot of our clients use us for that.
And I would imagine more information is always better than too little information. So, yeah, absolutely. Always good to send somebody out there. And listener, if you enjoyed what we're talking about here today, you can hear more from Curtis about vehicle claims by joining our March 6th webinar, which is named Putting the Brakes on Auto Fraud. Should be some really good stuff and a much longer version of what we talked about here today. You're going to be soon able to register for that CE Credited eligible webinar on our website, which make sure to bookmark it, is alpineintel.com. And while you're there, you can always check out a variety of resources and learn how not only VRC, but our other brands in Alpine Intel's suite of services can provide solutions to really a variety of insurance-related questions. Finally, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the Savvy Adjuster podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Thanks again for listening today, and we'll see you next time.